Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the Agriculture Expo. This morning, I will be plugging Newfoundland eggs, and my salt. That's what I'm doing. I also make sea salt, so I'm going to start by saying I make sea salt for a living, and everyone should eat it, and it goes well with eggs. So we're going to do eggs a few different ways today. Some people here have been here to the last time I did this in Corner Brook, in Grand Falls. And I talked about different ways of cooking eggs, the perfect way of poaching an egg. I'll be doing a French omelette. I'll be demonstrating like a cause and effect of boiled eggs, like how long, 5 minute, a 7 minute to a 15-minute egg, so you can see actually how an egg is cooked when you cut it open and how to done this, to see actually what you like more. Hello? Yeah, I'm going. And we'll also do a couple different things. I'm going to make a hollandaise for the poached egg. I'm going to make an egg noodle, which is just egg that you can replace like any type of noodle in a dish, just something different using eggs. So what I'll start with today is I'm going to make my hollandaise first thing, I think. So I have boiling water, a bowl and a whisk. I have clarified butter. You can also use whole butter, classically used clarified butter. I have some here. I will be starting it with clarified butter, and then I'm going to throw in a couple nugs of whole butter and whisk into it. This is I'll put 2 egg yolks, and I have a mixture of vinegar, shallot cooked down, and white wine cooked down, and I'll add that to it as a flavoring. And this is classically a mother sauce, one of the 5 mother sauces. So you can do many, many things with this sauce by adding things to it. You can make a béarnaise, you can make a chiron, you can go on and on and on. Eggs are, I'm totally steaming everything up. Okay. Eggs are like the most versatile thing in the kitchen. Without eggs, you're not cooking very much. Pastries are shot. Savory cooking is gone. Eggs are a key point in cooking. I'm going to have a hard time reaching that to whisk over the water. But I'm continuing. So I'm going to separate my egg yolks, which if anybody was here for the skills competition yesterday, I did not do very well with separating my egg yolks. I did very poorly. So 1 yolk, 2 yolks. I have my reduction, which is right here, which is vinegar, shallot, traditionally tarragon, and white wine reduced down so that you get a lot of flavor. I'll just add a little bit in. And just whisk it up. Add a little more, actually. I always add a little bit of salt in the beginning. You always season it at the end, but I add a bit in the beginning. I find the salt goes through better, gets more seasoned. It's also a good salt plug again. So I whisk this up just so it's completely mixed. And now I'm going to cook it over the water. Is it okay if I pull this up? I'm going to turn it down a lot anyway. So on steam, we're going to cook, we will virtually cook the yolks. You don't want it to, you want to take it on and off the heat often so that you don't make scrambled eggs. You're actually slowly cooking it so it'll finish the sauce. This is like would you say a cooked mayo? Almost, you know what I mean? Oil from the butter, and you have yolks, but you're cooking it. It's different technique, completely different technique. giving a different result. Very delicious. Especially when you put this on a poached egg, you will be having an egg with an egg sauce and butter. Like, what could be better than that? It's a great way to start your day. So it's getting a bit thick. This isn't taking very long because of how many eggs I have in here. As you can see, is like, it will still run, but it'll hold its shape for a second. I know I'm getting there. I had a chef who told me when we would do this for a couple hundred people, if when you're making it you don't break a sweat, you haven't done it right. I'm not doing that this morning. I did that yesterday with whipping the egg whites and failed at it horribly. So I'm getting to the point that it's thick and it's going to be ready. So I have a bit of wet paper towel here. I'll roll it around. This is so while I'm whisking, I can turn that off. While I'm whisking, the bowl won't rock around and I'll be able to actually add the oil in. So in the beginning, you want to add it in very, very slowly because to make the emulsification. Later on, you can add more quickly. One egg yolk will emulsify 250 mils of oil per yolk. So if you make a mayo or a hollandaise, you should be able to max that out. The science of eggs is incredibly interesting. For a point in my career, I obsessed about making eggs, and I was doing brunch a lot. And I did a lot of egg cooking, and then doing a lot of uses. You can see how thick it is now. It's like getting to a very nice viscosity. I'm going to add more still. It's a little chilly here this morning in the stadium, so my butter is starting to set back up. There we go. Clarified butter is in. I'm going to lay it back on the heat just to make sure. So this almost looks like mustard now, the consistency of it. We're getting there. I'm going to add a little touch of water to it. I have water right here. Just a touch. I'm just going to thin it out just a touch so it flows. And there's my hollandaise right now. So now I'm going to put this off on the side. I'm going to scoop it into a little dish. I'm going to hold this, and then we're going to poach an egg, and then we'll put the hollandaise on top of the poached egg. So now we're getting into, this is a fun little machine we have here. This is an immersion circulator. These are getting more and more common outside of like a professional kitchen. This is it's not a water heater. It holds the water at a temperature. So I put the water in here at 63 degrees, and this will hold it at 63 degrees for an indefinite amount of time. So it'll just circulate the water, hold it. Eggs cook by temperature, not by time. So these have been in here now for an hour and 40 minutes. At that temperature, the egg yolk will stay at a consistent runniness. It'll never overcook, which is sort of counterintuitive to everyone's thinking. Why a boiled egg takes 5 minutes to cook to a certain point and 10 minutes to fully cook is because of the temperature entering the egg from the outside in. If you microwave an egg, you can explode an egg in 2 minutes in the microwave. And it's because it's entering into the center and heating outwards. This way, you're slow. You could have it go for 24 hours and it'll give it a certain consistency. So this is a, a great way of doing an egg. I'm going to turn my water back on. The one thing is, the egg yolk and the egg white cook at different temperatures. So the yolk will be at 63 degrees Celsius, will be like the consistency of like heavy cream. But the white will be opaque and not set. So I'll bring this water up to temp. I'll crack my egg into this bowl, and you'll see that the white is translucent, which you don't want to eat. You want to eat egg whites fully cooked because your body has a tendency not to process them very well. And then I'll just drop it into the water, set the white, and then I'll pull it out and put it on the table, and you'll have a poached egg faster than you can do the toast, except for the hour and a half that it cooked earlier. A little time invested earlier, but not during the service of it. So you can see it's a very translucent glob, right? So we'll get the water to come back up to temp, and as soon as I drop it into here, you'll just see it set, and it'll be a consistent shape and size every time you do it. So if you were doing a brunch professionally where you were making a lot, this is a very quick way of doing it. Also, one of my favorite things of doing is with this, I take this and then I roll it in breadcrumbs, and then I drop it into a deep fryer, which is, it sounds absolutely delicious, but it's awful too because you're deep frying an egg. But it gets crispy on the outside and brown on the inside. Your yolk is just liquid, so when you crack it open, it's delicious. It's like a evil pleasure, deep frying an egg. So I have my water getting hot here now, just coming back to a boil. And yeah, I could wrap it in bacon over the top and deep fry it. It'd be delicious too. So usually when you poach an egg, you always get the water moving so it doesn't hit the bottom of the water and flatten out. So you want it to be swirling. So I'm turning off the heated water. So this is just fully setting. There's another way of poaching eggs, which is called deep water poaching, where you take a very large pot of water, bring it to a simmer, and when you drop it in, as it goes to the bottom, it sets. So when it hits the bottom and turns, you have this, it looks like a comet, and it's an even size. It's a complete pain to do, but I had to do it once in a place that I worked. It was torturous, actually. Really, but it was a beautiful egg. So there we have our poached egg, but when I cut it, it's this beautiful creaminess, if you can see that. Pull it back a little bit. There you go. See how it's just oozing? Like it's that perfect over easy egg consistency. Now I'll take this and I'll get my spoon and I'll just put hollandaise on top of it. And that's a very, very rich breakfast. But with an egg, which is such a beautiful thing to use. Everybody, we produce here in Newfoundland, we produce amazing eggs. We should all be buying local eggs. And there's no real reason not to. And this is me plugging eggs. Eggs, 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 eggs. Use eggs, use local eggs. Don't import eggs. So now we're going to get on to, that's our poached egg. Now I'll show you all this is my little science experiment, I would say, the way I approach this. I do eggs from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, pulling an egg out of the boiling water every minute, so when I cut it, you can see the difference in the yolk. So this is my 5-minute egg. This one's a very, very soft yolk. Can you guys see that from here? There we go. Okay. So I'll cut this, and you'll see how runny an egg is, right? The white is set, and you have a very runny yolk. Now we'll go 6 minutes. And I'll cut it, Now, it's very, very similar, except you have some yolk that is cooked on the inside of it and very runny. 7 minutes. I should have laid this. There we go. 7 minutes. We're getting into more set yolk. Like a little less runny, more egg cooked on around, more yolk cooked around. 8 minutes. Now we're getting, this is the way I like my eggs. It's like a little more set. It doesn't ooze out. We're into a 9-minute egg now. And we're getting into getting more and more set, but still light. And then we're into a 10-minute egg. We're getting very cooked. And the one thing with boiling eggs, it's a question is, do you start them in the water while the water's coming up? Do you drop them into boiling water? Where do you start timing them? I put them in, I get the water going, I put them in, if you drop them and crack them, they'll break open, that's one thing. But it's not out of boil yet. And then when it hits the boil, I time. That's when I start timing my eggs. And I always time the eggs because of if you let it go too long, you'll end up with a 15-minute egg, which I have here. I don't like 15-minute eggs, just so you know. They're not it's because you'll get the greenness around it, which is sulfur. And that's where you get stinky eggs, which is a negative thing. And I don't like talking about it too much because I'm plugging how good eggs are. But don't overcook your eggs. Green eggs aren't great. You can make an egg so quick it's not funny. So that's my science of the boiled egg. I'll lay that right there. Now I'm going to make an omelet now. So I make omelets a lot at home. I'm going to do a mushroom omelet this morning. And some veg. So I'm going to start it with a little bit of butter. And a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to take 2 of these eggs. And I'm going to break them up. Give them a whisk, break them down. I got my butter going. I'm going to cook my mushrooms. I got a little bit of garlic here. A little bit of shallot. And I got roasted red pepper, parsley, and some green beans. I don't know if anyone can smell this. It smells really good this morning. It's a good omelet happening. So I will cook this, then I'll remove it. Then I'll cook my egg, and I'll add it back into the center of my egg. I'm also going to add some really good salt that I make. Just to plug the Newfoundland sea salt. I keep forgetting to say my own name, company. We have a booth here, if anyone hasn't noticed. It's just down over there. You can go down and buy our salt. We make it in Bonavista, Vista, using water from Trinity Bay. Yeah. We're going to smoke sea salt on all the scrambled eggs that you're going to be trying today, so you can really taste it. So there's my eggs. And then if you feel like, you can come down and buy a jar at the booth. Yes. I'm not shy about plugging the eggs. plug in the eggs and the salt. That's one, yes. So now I've cooked my veg. Now I'm going straight in with my egg. Salt and eggs are a perfect marriage. They go together so well, it's not funny. So when I do my omelets, I don't just let them set and like go hard and bubble away. I move to center because the outside will cook a little better. You move to center a bit so you get, you can see the wrinkles. I'm not sure if you can see it. You'll see them happening, and I move a bit, it comes in so that the center will cook the same as the outside. I'm going to show you another way of doing an omelet in a different way that you can use as a noodle, as a replacement. That'll be the next thing I show you. Eggs are so versatile. Did you, I think one time when I did this, I talked about the traditional chef hat with the ribs in it, and everybody made fun, you guys made fun of me. But that comes from the 100 ways a chef traditionally can cook an egg, right? It's true. Nobody believed, Jamie didn't believe me. But eggs are infinite. Yeah, baking, cooking, the savory way of cooking eggs. So now I have my yolk, the omelet is running, and that's a great point right now. So I'm going to add my ingredients. Turn it off to heat. I'm going to start to turn now. Get it to come over. You can, eggs are great because you cook them the way you like them. If you like your omelet fully cook your omelet. If you like your eggs dry, that's fine. I like them a little wet. The one thing I don't like is scrambled eggs that are chopped up omelets. That's a pet peeve of mine. They're not the same. So now I've got it folded. I'm going to come down and I'll just do the roll, egg roll. Or I'll turn it over. So then I have my nice shape of my omelet. And when I cut this open, it's like, it's saucy, as an egg should be. So that's my French omelet with mushrooms and roasted vegetables. So now I'll do my my omelet, thin omelet that I use for stir fry, and I also use it in fried rice. It's really, really good. This is a great one if you're gluten-free and you still want to have noodles. My soy sauce won't work. Can you open that? It's early in the morning for me today. There we go. Thank you. A little bit of soy sauce. Give it a whisk. So it has a little bit of color. It'll add a little bit of seasoning to it. I'll get the heat on my omelet going. This one you do at a medium-low heat. It's good to do it with a non-stick pan. I'm going to add just a little bit of butter to the pan. So you can see